Here is an analysis on opposition sharpening multi-front attack as Uganda's 2026 political war hits up. Uganda's political landscape is escalating into a full spectrum confrontation, with battles now raging across institutional, ideological, and legal fronts. The dramatic reversal by the National Unity Platform on joining a government dialogue platform and the fierce backlash it triggered represents just one theater in a rapidly expanding political war as the country marches towards the 2026 general elections. The IPOD, Gambit, Pragmatism, or surrender. The political storm erupted when Uganda's main opposition party formally expressed interest in joining the inter-party organization for dialogue, that's IPOD, a platform it had boycotted for years, denouncing it as a regime tool for legitimizing the ruling National Resistance Movement, NRM. The reversal proved immediately controversial on multiple levels. As a whole, procedural humiliation. According to reports from Acoli Times and the Daily Monitor, IPOD rejected NOB's initial bid, insisting the party must submit a formal letter of intent and sign the organization's memorandum of understanding. This procedural blockade, framed as administrative but laden with political symbolism, makes NOB's return appear uncoordinated and desperate, forcing the party to effectively beg to join, as one headline blatantly stated. There is also fierce internal rebellion. The move triggered scathing criticism with opposition ranks. Prominent government critics like Dr. Stella Nyanzi captured the sentiment of NOB's radical base in a viral tweet, accusing the party of having swallowed its cold vomit and gotten onto its knees and paused to beg for a cut of money. This backlash highlights a fundamental risk for NOB. Any perception of collaboration with the regime threatens to demobilize the passionate anti-establishment base that forms its core support. Strategic calculus. Despite the backlash, NOB's leadership appears to be making a calculated pivot toward pragmatism. The IPOD boycott, while ideologically pure, yielded limited tangible results. By rejoining, NOB aims to access state funding, crucial for election mobilization, and secure a formal platform to challenge the NRM directly. However, the high-stakes gamble pits strategic necessity against ideological purity. The ideological battlefield, redefining Pan-Africanism. While maneuvering with the system, NOB leader Robert Chagulanyi, that's Bobi Wine, is simultaneously opening a potent new ideological front. In a statement highlighted by the Daily Monitor, he launched a direct assault on the NRM's core foreign policy narrative. Pan-Africanism is the most beautiful idea, but again I must say it is the most abused idea, Bobi Wine declared. Today, Pan-Africanism is looking out for which dictator speaks worst about the West, not which person does the best for their people. This framing represents a strategic masterstroke that seeks to, first of all, unmask the NRM. It directly challenges President Yoweri Museveni's projection as a Pan-African stalwart, redefining site posturing as a smokescreen for poor domestic governance. Secondly, reframe political debate. It shifts focus from anti-Western rhetoric to tangible issues of service delivery, corruption, and democratic accountability that resonate with ordinary Ugandans. Connect with youth. The message powerfully appeals to a younger, delusional demographic that views abstract Pan-Africanism as relevant to daily struggles with unemployment and lack of opportunity. The legal minefield. Neutral elimination of rivals. The political environment continues to be shaped by what opposition figures decry as weaponized legal processes. A report from New Vision, a state-owned newspaper, quotes President Museveni explicitly denying involvement in the disqualification of Jimmy Akena, leader of the Uganda People's Congress, that's UPC, from a previous presidential race, that is the nomination. Museveni's statement that it was legal, it was not political, I do not remember the details, exemplifies a recurring regime pattern, the systematic blocking of political rivals is consistently attributed to technical legal shortcomings, maintaining a veneer of constitutionalism. For the opposition, Akena's case serves as a stark warning of the legal problems that can befall any challenger, reinforcing perceptions of an uneven playing field meticulously managed by the state. The regime's win-win calculus. The ruling NRM under President Museveni stands to gain from those developments regardless of outcomes. First of all, if Nuke joins IPOD, the NRM can tout it as a proof of inclusive democracy while tarnishing Nuke's revolutionary image. If Nuke remains blocked, the regime can paint the opposition as chaotic and serious. Meanwhile, the NRM continues to liberate state institutions and control dominant political narratives through outlets like New Vision. Synthesis. The four-pronged war for 2026. As the 2026 elections approach, Uganda's political conflict has crystallized into a coordinated four-pronged war. First of all, the institutional gambit, that's IPOD, Nuke's risky move to engage state institutions from within, seeking resources and a platform while challenging NRM dominance on its own turf. Another one is the ideological offensive, Pan-Africanism, a direct attack on the moral and philosophical legitimacy of the NRM, designed to strip away its progressive veneer and reframe it as a self-serving dictatorship. The grassroots narrative, that's governance failures, liberating public discontent over issues such as the reported Kitubulu forest land giveaway to fuel anger and mobilize support around tangible governance failures. The legal battlefield, that's political exclusion, continuously exposing the systemic use of state institutions to sideline oppositions, thereby rallying international and domestic sympathy against political repression. Conclusion: an unprecedented political confrontation. The NRM, a political behemoth in power for nearly 4 decades, now faces an opposition that has nurtured in its messaging and diversified its tactics. While the regime still commands vast resources and the instruments of state coercion, concurrent challenges to its legitimacy on ideological, institutional, and governance grounds are creating unprecedented pressure. The heat in Ugandan politics is no longer just from street protest. It now emanates from a sustained, multi-dimensional political war. The battle for 2026 is already underway, and its outcome will be determined not merely by rallies and ballots, but by which side can most effectively control the national narrative and demonstrate tangible results to a weary electorate. Thank you.